A White House initiative was started after the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting, allowing anyone at the scene of a trauma to act as an immediate responder. Dr. Nora Kassira, Kristen Carter down there, and Ann Blevins, Pediatric Trauma Program Director at TGA, joins us to show us that anyone can save lives if they know what to do. I'm intimidated by this thought of saving lives, especially when it comes to bleeding. But doctor, you were saying that most people think of CPR. We need to know CPR, we need to know the Heimlich to save lives. But we've kind of got something else we have to add, and it's talking about bleeding. Why is this so important?
Definitely. You can see with, unfortunately all these shootings that have been happening recently, it's very important to be able to stop the bleed and teach the public proper bleeding control techniques. So the American College of Surgeons has come up with a Stop the Bleed initiative, and that's what we're here to show you today. The #1 cause of death in trauma that's preventable is actually hemorrhage or uncontrolled bleeding. So you can see why there's such an emphasis on this today.
And I think the key is that is preventable if people know what to do. And that's where you ladies travel out, let people in the community know what to do. And we've got some examples today of what we're going to show. First, I'm thinking this is a tourniquet. I've heard that term, but I'll be honest with you, I would have no idea how to administer one. So change that for me today,
Absolutely.
Ann.
All right, so this is a tourniquet. These you can apply to wounds that have bleeding that you cannot control by any other means. Just one thing I do want to point out about the tourniquets, that these will hurt, but it's okay. You're saving the person's life. So don't tighten it because it gets too tight or it hurts the patient. So you just want to make sure you get it as tight as possible to stop the bleed. So I'm just going to put it on here and I'll show you how simple it is. And even if you don't have a tourniquet, you can use anything like a ruler, anything that you have at home to make a tourniquet as well. So you're going to tighten it around the bleeding spot. You're going to twist it till the bleeding stops. You're going to lock it into this and then secure it over here. And now we have a little piece of Velcro here that you can write the time on it so that when the ambulance comes to pick up the patient, they know exactly what time the tourniquet was placed.
Oh, wow. Now, of course, this is, beneficial to have if you have one of these around, but you stressed how, and of course, watching medical shows, I'm like, oh, well, can't you use a belt or a hair tie or things like that? What do you do? Just get it as tight as possible?
As tight as possible. You want to try to remove the clothing so you have it on the skin surface. So you want to make sure anything that you can use to tighten it to stop the bleeding before EMS gets there, that's what's the most important thing.
Now, here's my question. How do you know if something needs a tourniquet versus what we're going to do next, which is packing and trying to stop a bleed that way?
Well, with the packing and things like that, you don't want to put a tourniquet on closer to a proximity because you need to put the tourniquet higher than where it's bleeding. So obviously you can't put a tourniquet on a neck or an upper shoulder.
Okay.
And that's where you come in, where you have wounds that are that high up that you can't use a tourniquet for, that you can use direct pressure with packing a wound, and Kristen can talk about that.
I would say, Kristen, take it away. And by the way, these spongy things are quite interesting. They actually show different kinds of wounds, right?
They do, exactly. So that's really the purpose of the packing station, is to show people basic laceration, gunshot wound, and then we provide them with the gauze, but we also tell people that use your shirt, use towel, use the socks from the patient. And basically what you see on the outside may not be what's on the inside. So when you pack these things, you kind of look at this and you think, oh, you just apply a little bit of pressure, but they can actually be quite deep. So we teach everybody to pack pretty deep in there to where you get bleeding controlled and then hold pressure.
Okay, so you mean try to get it actually in the wound?
Absolutely. The goal of this is you're going to pack in the wound. You're going to continue using whatever you have available, packing this down into the wound until you basically stop the bleeding, and then you're going to hold constant pressure. That's the most important thing, is to stay holding pressure until medical personnel show up.
Stay holding pressure, tourniquet info, great information. Hopefully this helps you. But frankly, Stop the Bleed Day is tomorrow, and we need to point out that people can contact TGH and have your services come out to teach their organizations, companies, things like that.
Yes, we are the only ACS, it's American College of Surgeons, verified pediatric trauma center in the state of Florida. So we are happy to go out to the community to provide this service. They can contact our office at 813-844-7354.
Great.
And we'll be happy to arrange to do the classes for them.
Sounds good. Ladies, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.